Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have exactly 2 weeks left, right, of the Chanchi. All right. First of all, there's a question from yesterday. Go ahead, you two.
Francis asks, yesterday, Master talked about when people hurt us, we need to simply take it to help them release their pressure or to keep the peace for the sake of the children. What should one do in an abusive situation like physical abuse, drug or alcohol addiction, or bullying? Does no fighting apply in these situations?
What happens for the drug or addiction situation? What is the situation exactly?
So I guess it would be like physical abuse or
So basically, there are sometimes like the husband would abuse the wife unreasonable with no reason. Also, sometimes because they're take drugs or alcohol and they go home and take it on the wives or vice versa. Or if they go to school and people bully, you know.
In those cases, we need to report to the authorities. When I talk about we taking a loss and enduring the hardship and the suffering, is assuming that you're cultivating, meaning you're meditating and in enduring the suffering, enduring and taking the beating or the losses, actually, if you have that kind of mindset and you cultivate, you meditate, and you receive training, it actually will help your cultivation. That's our style of cultivation. We do the things that are hard to endure, that are hard to do. And that's what our standard for cultivation is. Cultivation for us is not meant to be pleasant. Okay, when you seek nice feelings and good feelings during cultivation, we don't look at it as cultivation. I look at it basically as self-indulgence. Cultivation to me is to do things that I cannot do before, do more than I could before. That's the nature of cultivation for where I came from, in my environment. And so for me, status quo is just simply is not good enough. So that's why when I cultivate, I look for doing things that I could not do before, doing things that are hard to do. If it's cultivation is like if I meditate and I feel good the whole time, then I don't call it cultivation at all. I call it basically maintenance. Okay, and you simply are really are not straining yourself. That's not cultivation at all, to me. So that's what I was referring to. So when you cultivate and someone comes to you and comes at you with a vengeance, with abuses and so forth, endure it. Look at it as part of, if you do that, that's called cultivation. However, the people who don't cultivate, normal people, they don't cultivate. They only can take so much before they go crazy themselves. For us, it's different. We take a lot more than we can endure because we have the skills, because it helps us develop skills to recover even quicker than before. That's the secret about our cultivation. This is why it's not surprising to me, many of you have been progressing so quickly the last several months. because you bought into that model when you said, I'm going to push myself to the limit, and I even go even beyond my limit. And that's what it takes for you to improve, to increase your samadhi power. Do more than you can. That's the secret in our environment. Okay? Be careful. You who are not in our environment, this is a carefully supervised situation. It's not haphazard at all. For example, when people come here and they fast, we keep an eye on them. We don't show it, but we keep an eye on them so that they're doing the right things, they're safe. It's not something that you have at home or at other places when we execute these particular Dharma doors. But in our environment, you're under supervised efforts where we encourage you to go out on a limb and still in the spirit of Chan meditation. Chan meditation is, the Chinese captured it beautifully. Cultivating Chan, especially in our Weiyang Chan, please, Koreans pay attention, or newcomers pay attention, is likened to climbing a 100-foot pole. 100 foot. We're about 20 feet up there. Okay, so it's 5 times the ceiling of our Buddha Hall. 5 times. Look, from here, where we are, to climb to the top, the ceiling is about 20 feet. Okay, 24 feet, 25 feet, and you have to climb 4 times that, the height. From here, you climb with a pole. It's so difficult for you already, and you need to climb even further than that. So cultivating Chan is likened to climbing a 100-foot pole, meaning it's a very difficult thing to do. It's exhausting physically. It's strenuous mentally. You feel like giving up. So far, so good. That's the Chan heritage right there. It's not supposed to be easy. And that's why we encourage you to strain yourself, to go all out. And then you climb up there to the top. Okay? If you ever make it to the top, then you take a step into empty space. That's Chan cultivation. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for ordinary people. If you have that kind of mindset, there's hope for you. You want to take it easy. You want it to be comfortable, under control, and safe. Then your progress would be a lot slower. So you climb up, and then you slow down. Okay, there's still time, right? You're young. You still have plenty of time. You try it again tomorrow. Keep doing that. But for those of you who are determined, then you have to be willing to endure the hardship and doing something that you don't feel you're capable of doing physically. All right? But for regular people who are not under that regime of training, then if you can take so much, and you better run away, or you better call the authorities and ask for help, because in the cases of drug abuses or excessive physical abuses, there are laws against that, and you're supposed to talk to someone. If you can't do that, you have to talk to, call the police, call your school counselor. Call your therapist, and they'll take care of that for you, because you need help. Don't be stupid. Okay? Because when people are under the spell of drugs, and in particular, some of the people are mentally unhealthy. I'm thinking about, in particular, manic people. Okay? They do stupid things. They cannot control themselves. It's the demons who are controlling them. There's nothing you can do. In those cases, you need to get help. Don't be stupid. Of course, when you're in our environment, we see that you're not under, you're under the demon's influence. We just beat up the demon to give you temporary relief. That's why I'm saying, that's why I said that it's under supervision in that sense. We do a lot of things for you to make sure things are still manageable for you. It's just like when you bend a rattan, okay, you bend a tree. You can bend so much each time, and you have to let go, and you bend more next time, okay? You do it all at once, it's going to break. That's where supervision and experience comes in. It comes real handy for that reason, okay? That's the difference between Master YongHua, who trained by himself, and so therefore he had to do the things he did. I similarly had to train by myself, so that I had to experiment, okay, to see how far I could go and so forth. Okay, so that's where experience is very helpful. All right, so be cautious. Yeah, we don't want people. It's not something you can do at home. Okay, you need help. They are getting help here in our environment. All right, is it clear? Okay, as I was saying, we have exactly about 2 weeks left, 2 qis left. Meanwhile, when we've been at it for several weeks now, and amazingly, we have the same small group of people who haven't given up yet. The regular attendance at the evening lecture is pretty good. So in a way, you're helping the people who can't physically be here. So it's a good thing. And we also at the same time adding to the Chan Qi knowledge. All right. Meanwhile, out there, people are suffering. They are dying left and right. I saw statistics today that's shocking. 29 million people have a hard time getting food in this country, this great country of the United States of America. 29 million people have a hard time feeding the families. 12 million children are going hungry. Think about that. Okay, and that's when I bring it out for you to remind you that we're doing all this in order to help others. Okay, if you do it for yourself, you hide behind the 4 walls, and you only worry about yourself, then I assure you, your progress will be very, very minimal. Whereas if your mind, your heart is bigger, and you do this in order to have the wisdom and the skills and the power to help others, yeah, and then your progress will be a lot quicker, and you can go a lot further. And that's why I'm pleased that the last several months, the last several weeks, people have been working hard. Doesn't show it. They've been working hard. Okay, we've been so busy, extremely busy. It gets busier and busier, not less busy. Okay, in Korea, is he out of the quarantine yet? Is he? No? Yes? No? No? Not yet. So I'm proposing that, that we could, the next 2 weeks, you work harder, okay? Go all out. Do more than you asked to do. And so that you can generate even more blessings that you can give away to the world. Okay? It makes a difference, trust me. In my master's time, four his disciples decided to do the pilgrimages for so-called world peace. Okay? I don't know it really helped make the world more peaceful. But I can tell you that at your level, because those guys at their level is pretty low, so I doubt it had really much influence at all. I'm very blunt, okay? But if you, all of us, work harder the next 2 weeks, it can make a huge difference. And I propose to make a difference, apply the difference in your efforts towards helping our neighborhoods, our state, our provinces, our countries with this COVID thing here, which is really destroying the world. It's ridiculous. To me, it's World War III. The kind of fatalities we're experiencing is World War III, no different. Okay? And we can help. We provide significant help. I tell you this. We should concentrate on helping our immediate areas, and you see for yourself. We can make a difference if you sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your comfort, sacrifice your sleep, so that you can generate more blessings, and we can give them away in 2 weeks. Okay? How's that? Meaning an hour lunch instead of 2-hour lunches, so that we have 1 more hour extra. Huh? Is it a deal? Trust me. The head count may be small, but the samadhi power is much higher than those world peace seeking pilgrimage people. It's about 1 million times more. So it does make a difference, trust me. Well, maybe 100,000. Okay? Sleep less. Eat less. Meditate more. Improve more. This is a time where we can make a difference. It would be a difference in a sense that we are late in the game, which if I started, last year, but because for political reasons, we didn't. But we still have some time left for 2 weeks where we can dedicate our time to really try to make a difference by generating a lot of blessings. Okay? To counter the threat to the world by this pandemic. Okay? Hopefully few people will die. There may be more variants. The British variant, the UK variant is so contagious. Okay, South African variant is also seems to be immune to the vaccines. Are we going to sit here and wait? They're muddying the waters. They are causing more problems. And let's collectively work harder so that fewer people will die. And these strains are under control. It's not that hard. I wish that the world is willing to meditate. If we had started last year to teach the world how to meditate, a lot of money, a lot of lives could have been saved if they know how to defend themselves. But it's not meant to be. All right? My message to you is we do this for a purpose. I'm very goal-oriented. I don't work in a vacuum. There must be a purpose for all this madness, all this suffering. We choose to take losses. Okay? We sacrifice our comfort, sacrifice our self-gain, self-benefits in order to benefit others. You cannot help others unless you're willing to take losses. You can't give unless you must be willing to accept losses. All right? Oh, you look so excited. I'm so, as if I hope you're in samadhi already. Good. Okay. Questions or comments? Trust me, it's a lot more fun when your spiritual pursuit has a purpose. And these things, these bad things happen in the world, are actually should be viewed as opportunities for you to rise to the occasion. This is what this is about. This is about becoming better, developing more strength, more skills to help. Because there's a reason. There's a need right there in front of our eyes. That's a motivator. Okay? Use it. Please. All right. So, hopefully, we do work by concentric circles wherever we are in this temple. We want to take care of our neighborhoods, our counties. Same thing. Up north, same thing in Korea. Okay? Wherever we are, we're committed to trying to make a difference, to help out in a small way, best way possible, and keep on enlarging it. All right. Start the lecture, please.
修行啊，在天成相，在地成形。咱们现在在这个人间呢，举行这个坐禅班。
As to cultivation, in heaven images form, on earth forms form. Now in this human realm, we are holding this sitting Chan class.
Okay, YouTube has a question.
Vicky asked, Master, if we can't get to the temple, can we meditate more hours at home?
Absolutely. Please do it at home. But unlike in the past, I heard a lot of temples organizing this mass cultivation, okay? Like quoting, and to have a quota for how many times you recite a mantra or whatever. You can cultivate at home, but the difference as well as here, if it were, is the same as you were to come here, and because whatever consequences when I ask you to do things, I will shield you for the consequences. Okay? If you choose to do things on your own, you have to bear the consequences. When I ask you to do things like this, like tonight, I will bear the consequences for you. Okay? Meaning that nothing bad's going to happen to you. If the more people do this, then all the bad things will fall upon my head. That's how we do things here. When I ask you to do things, I pay. I don't ask you to pay. I pay the price. I bear the consequences. All right? Don't be careful when you participate on these things where you pray for world peace and all those things, unless it's clearly spelled out like that, like I just did, you bear the consequence. You have to pay the price yourself. All right? Because you're meddling. When you meddle, there's a price to pay. And that's why, in the past, my teacher, Master YongHua, made sure that we made clear to us that when we practice these healing dharmas like 42 hands and eyes, we're not supposed to heal people. Okay? So those of us who violated his rule, we have to bear the consequences ourselves. All right.
在这个虚空里边，也有这个坐禅班；在这个天上，也有这个坐禅班。
In this empty space, also have our sitting Chan class. In the heaven, also have our sitting Chan class.
And that also applies to all of you beings who have been cultivating with us. I ask all of you the same thing. Okay? Please join us in working harder so that we can generate even more blessings in order to help. Okay? All of you. Go on.
所以你不要以为这个坐禅班就是在这个人世间。虚空里怎么会有这个坐禅班呢？
So, you shouldn't think that this sitting Chan class is just in this human realm. How can the empty space have this sitting Chan class?
YouTube has a question.
Cordelia asks, which mantra is best to meditate with for the current situation?
Good question. Oh, she asks good question, doesn't she? I would like you to recite Da Chu To. Okay, let's go for it, because these demons are really misbehaving, as if they can misbehave and go unchecked, and that show them that we're not afraid of them. Okay, so do Da Chu To. So check with your local way place, and they'll show you the mantra, and so forth. Okay. Continue.
因为咱们人间有这个坐禅班， 所以在虚空里头也有。
Because our human realm has this sitting Chan class, so the empty space also has it.
虚空里既然有这个坐禅班，在天上也有的。
Since the empty space has this sitting Chan class, then heaven also has it.
这叫在天成相，在天呢也有这个形象，在地成形有这个形象。
This is called in heaven images form. Heaven also has this image. On earth forms form, has this form.
而每一个人呢，都有本有的佛性。这个本有的佛性，充满虚空里。
Then every single one of us all has the original Buddha nature. This original Buddha nature fills the empty space.
我们在这修行虚空里，那个本性一点一点的现出的光明。
We cultivate here, in the empty space, our original nature shows this brightness little by little.
我们在这儿要是不修行，我们那个本性，那个自性就没有光明。
If we don't cultivate here, then our original nature, the self nature, won't have brightness.
Well, let me make a comment about this. I don't know what he meant by heavens also have a chanchi and stuff like that. It's way beyond my realm. I can't really see in front of my nose, so that's about it. But you can rest assured that he knows what he's talking about. Master YongHua never says anything that's inaccurate. He lies sometimes, but not at this time. Okay, he lies for a purpose, for a good reason. Let me put it that way. Okay, he won't try to impress you by saying things that are beyond our realm. It's, whatever he says is good for us. Okay, so sometimes you listen to the Dharma, especially when you listen to these patriarchs, what they say you can take it to be true. Well, even if you don't understand, just sometimes you don't get it. Just say, "Oh, he said the heavens also have a chanchi. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But in the future, we'll find out ourselves." Okay. Again, even when you listen to the Dharma, even the Dharma is not totally comprehensible to you. Okay, so that part that you don't understand, just shelve it for now. Okay, eventually you get that, you understand. You're not supposed to understand everything. You understand everything, there's no reason for you to come anymore. You might as well go see a movie. Okay, because it's entertainment, and then another comment about the brightness. I noticed some people who recently started emitting light. Yeah. So that's what he's referring to. When you practice sincerely, you emit light, and that light there is from your Buddha nature. It dispels the darkness. It scares the ghosts and the bad elements. They run away from the lights. The ghosts and the demons can only hide in the dark and or behind lies and subterfuges. But the light that you emit from your wisdom light will scare them away. And that's why even when you work hard, you emit light, and this light will actually help push those dark forces back. Okay, so even though you can't see it, but if you work harder and you improve, and particularly if you improve, your light will be stronger. So now our sphere of influence grows bigger. Okay, people within that area, people will be safer. Living beings will be better off. All right? It does make a difference, trust me, in a very humble way. It's not something we can monetize, unfortunately. That's why it doesn't pay. Yes, YouTube. You really want to help, you take losses and you expect no gains. Yes, get used to that.
Kenny KK asks, if you chant the medicine master mantra and blow it into water, if you let the animal drink it, will it help them too?
Yeah, it would help, absolutely. Whatever your mantras you have affinities with, this is the time to use them. Okay? In the next 2 weeks. If you feel that you want to use the medicine master mantra, by all means use that. If you want to engage with the demons, just to find out how scary that can be, and recite Da Zhi To, okay, and so forth. But whatever you're comfortable doing, it's okay. Another question?
Yeah, another question. Cordelia asks, can I recite the mantra just mentioned at the hospital when I am working?
What mantra? We mentioned 2 mantras. The medicine master mantra is if you work at hospitals, okay, when I talked about reciting mantras that is outside of your daily schedules, all of you, most of you have this workload. You're supposed to be reciting certain things. Do that first, and the rest of the time recite the mantras to help, to help out. As to the people who work in hospitals, your best bet would be to recite the Buddha's name. Okay, hospitals are not good places for you to go and engage. When you recite mantras, you are fighting, you're engaging. You see, in the past 15 years, I focus on teaching you Chan, meditation, because that's the fastest way to train you, and Pure Land, because only Pure Land can help you and help your family members and the ones you care for who cannot cultivate. All right? So those are the primary things. Think of it as you will. Chan for this lifetime, and Pure Land is for future lives. Okay? So far, we explained more about Chan because you're not ready for the Pure Land yet. Okay? Especially in the U.S. And especially here in Asia, the Pure Land is too Hinayana, and it's an uphill battle to change them. So that's why I play low key. Okay, hopefully we're different in the future. But so those are the main drives: Pure Land and Chan. But actually, we never made a big deal out of the mantra side. The mantra side is for occasions like this. We've been practicing mantras for how many years? 6 years? 7 years, I think. At least I transmitted the Hansen ICU like 5 years ago. Officially, yes? So the mantras are the weaponry that we need to use when, at your level, when we engage, okay? And that's why we don't allow you to engage. But for the next 2 weeks, I allow you to engage just to find out for yourself. This is the time where you can experiment and see how much you can do, okay? So mantra to be used sparingly. It's just used for your training right now. And occasionally I will allow you to use them to try your skills, to test the waters, if you will. But for your normal lives, you go to work in hospitals, do not recite mantras. You asking for trouble, okay? They can get back on you in so many ways you can realize. So you're better off going to when you work in hospitals or mortuaries or cemeteries and those places, or medical offices, recite the Buddha's name. Much safer. Recite the Buddha's name, Amitabha's name, or Medicine Master Buddha's name. Either one is okay. All right? Don't recite mantras, please. Cube.
Sir, if we want to help with this at home, should we do transference to this course afterwards?
Yes, you can do transference yourself at home. It's a good idea. Okay? Again, check with your local way place. They show you how to do the transference properly. Good question. Okay, YouTube. Let's alternate YouTube question and come back to the cube again.
Lena Indonesia asks, is Ta Chi Tao mantra the same as the Great Compassion mantra?
What mantra?
Ta Chi Tao.
What?
Ta Chi Tao mantra.
Ta Chi Tao. Say that again.
Ta Chi Tao.
Okay, louder.
Ta Chi Tao.
We're making fun of you. Oh, yeah. He's Chinese, Chinese Canadian. But is that the same as Great Compassion? No, it isn't. It's a different thing. Okay. We are rushed for time. That's why I prefer to use Da Zhi Tou right now, because it's not time to be polite and be compassionate anymore. Just get the heck out of here, okay? We're not in a good mood. You want to fight? We fight you, and see who's going to get hurt first. Okay. YouTube still have.
Vicky asks, Master, if we develop our abilities and emit light, will the demons stay away from us and afflict us less?
Nah. They keep on coming at you when you become a target. They don't give up. That's why they're demons. That's why you have to be careful. But at the temples, we're not afraid of them, but you should be afraid of them. At the temple, we look at the demon's face and eyes and say, bring it on. Yes, Green.
So I was reciting the Dharma a lot, like all day, one time, a few times, and then I felt like that was all I was thinking about, was just the mantra of just going in my head all day, but I couldn't, stop the thoughts from thinking and just meditate. But I wanted to kind of just totally try to stop thinking completely, but the mantra was going in my head. Would it be okay to like stop trying to recite the mantra and just like try to clear my head instead of reciting the mantra all day?
It's okay for it to recite all day. It's a form of meditation too. It will stop when it will stop, naturally. You don't have to wish it stops. That's a false thought. All you are told to do is recite a mantra, whether it's Dachuto or some of you might want to do the hands and eyes, okay? That's okay too, okay? But it's a natural thing. You just recite because you're supposed to recite. For you to come up with a thought that says, can I stop? It's called a false thought. Cut it out. Yes, Pink.
Master, when do we know we're ready to engage with the demon?
You don't engage without permission. They're a lot more powerful than you can handle, honestly. Okay? It'll be a long, long time. Even my own disciples that I've been training for a long, long time, they're not allowed to engage. This is a limited, selective engagement as for drill, for training, not something we do every day. Your job is not to engage with them at all. Our job is to cultivate and open our wisdom. You're not supposed to be fighting. I'm engaging you and telling you to engage right now. It's for training only for the next 2 weeks, if you wish to do so. But normally, it's none of your business. You can't handle it, honestly. Without supervision, without help, it's not something you can handle. Okay? They can very easily overpower you unless we help you. YouTube question.
Mary Jo asks, is there a way to hide our light?
Yes, there is a way, but don't worry about it. Okay? Yeah. Yes, Green.
I have kind of two things to say. First of all, I was a while ago. I was looking at the demons in kind of like pedophilia, and I was like, oh, this is disgusting. I kept kind of diving into it deeper and deeper, like the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, and I was getting really into it, and then the demons started to show up in my dreams, and I was having trouble sleeping for a few nights. And then that's when I decided, okay, I'm cutting this out, and I'm done with this, and I stopped, engaging with them because it's just totally bad idea. The second thing I have to say is, so you say that you should try to make yourself invisible. When you have light, is it harder to make yourself invisible? Is that visible, or should you just kind of just not even think about that?
I never said you should make yourself invisible. That's a different Dharma we're not teaching. That's the paying class. Okay? That's a different skill set. But what I told you is when you cultivate, you don't want to stand out. You want to blend in, not become invisible. It's different things. You blend in. That's all you do. Okay? Whatever everyone else is doing, you do. They run, you run. They sit, you sit. You don't stand out. Okay? And that's called Great Assembly Dharma. Wherever you go, don't stand out. Whatever you do, don't stand out. we're doing this for the next 2 weeks is not to stand out. It's just because we want to seize the opportunity to try to do something. We may amount to beans, may amount to nothing at all, okay? But doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best, our hardest. That's all, okay? I tried last year with a limited scale to be able to do that already. So this year we try a larger scale and see what happens. Yeah, that's all. It's your desire to help and make a difference and contribute when people are suffering. That's what matters. The end result, to me, doesn't matter that much. But until then, give your best. Stop thinking so much about your own benefit. Look at the suffering that people are going through right now. You do that in the future, then when you're suffering and you're in trouble and you need help, others will help you. Anything else? Okay, continue, please.
没有光明，也就是没有智慧；没有智慧，就是愚痴。
Don't have brightness means don't have wisdom. Don't have wisdom means stupid.
It's true. When you emit light, the light is from your wisdom. When you meditate, it's not uncommon for many of you at your various levels to emit light. That's natural. That shows while you're emitting light, you have wisdom. When you stop emitting light, that's when your wisdom is not active. Right? So when you emit light, try buying some tickets. $970 million right now. I give up because, I'm destined to be poor. I came in this body and I'm supposed to be poor, so I can't even give you money to buy tickets because when I do that, it would jinx you. Whatever I touch is supposed to be poor. I'm a loser. Bottom line, I can't win. I can be mean like my master. I can't win. Go on.
所以我们修行，在不知不觉的2个禅期已经过去了。
So we cultivate unwittingly. 2 chanqis have already passed.
在这2个禅期，有的用功用了相应的，觉得很快就过去了。
During these 2 chanqis, some applied effort and had responses. They felt the 2 qis passed very quickly.
有的用的不相应的，就觉得这2个禅期是很长的时间。没法坐下来，那个
Some applied effort and didn't have responses. They felt these 2 chanqis were a very long time. Every time sitting down, that.
以前果修讲话，往这一坐就等着那个开镜的那个引磬响，等着他也不响，等。
In the past, Guo Xiu said, I sat there just waiting for that open stillness small bell to ring. Waited, but it didn't ring.
那他也不响，等着好像有几年这么长的时间啊，他才响了。这一响了啊，这可解放了。
Waited, and it didn't ring. It felt like I've waited for several years. Ah, then it rang. Once it rang, ah, such liberation.
啊，解放。解是解脱的解，放就是放开那个放，没有这个引磬没有响的时候，就好像被人绑上似的。
Liberation. Ah, when the small bell was not ringing, it was like being tied up.
坐到那个地方觉得很不自由的。我们解放没有好久，又被人绑上了。
Sitting in that place, I felt very unfree. Then, liberated for not long, was tied up again.
所以这个不会用功的人，就觉得很长的时间会有。
So, the ones who don't know how to apply effort would feel it's a very long time.
用功的人呢，就是好像一眨眼的时间。
The ones who know how to apply effort would feel it's just the period of blinking the eye. 2个礼拜已经过去了。用功用的相应的人，自己知道得到的利益是什么。 Ah, 2 weeks have already passed. The ones who applied effort and had responses themselves know what benefits they gained.
Stop. So, this is why Master YongHua started by teaching Chan. He trained my generation by teaching Chan because Chan, our style of Chan is wonderful. When you practice and you follow the instruction like the way his disciples did, like I did, you get responses, you get results. The Chinese call it responses. We call it results. Okay? The results that we want, the results that are desirable. Response is too abstract. Okay? I'm too Americanized in that sense, in that, I'm desire-driven. Okay? So the responses to me, and the way Chinese put it, is simply the good results. Okay, and that is something you will experience yourself naturally, if you follow the regimen, you follow the instructions, you execute the instruction. Please do not take this for granted. The fact that Master YongHua brought those specialized instructions that was labeled as Weiyang training instructions to this country is an enormous gift to the Western cultures, because it didn't have that before. We didn't have this kind of training techniques until Master YongHua brought it to this country. And these techniques produce the results that to those who follow or execute it. Okay? So these people who follow the instructions instead of talking, instead of BSing, then they get results and they know it themselves. That's what he's talking about. He says these people get responses and they know what they gain. It's real to them. Only they know, and the teachers know, and it's not meant for them to brag and advertise and tell people about it. The people who practice and then says, I enter samadhi and let me describe to you what it is. Those are cheap salesmen. Okay? They're not helping. Because if you behave like that, all you're doing is enticing people to admire you and to pay you eventually. Whereas these techniques, these training, these special training instructions are not something that you can pay for. You pay for by sincerity. You pay for them by sincerity. You pay for them by hard work. Unless you do what you're told to do, you won't know. You won't know what the benefits are. So if you do, then you're paying for them yourselves. You don't need to pay with money. Okay? The only real money you can pay is through your efforts and your sincerity. All right? So that's why in Mahayana, it has been the case with my disciples. They gain whatever they gain and never said anything to anyone. That's supposed to be the case. They should know themselves. And only people who don't know, who come to try to look for some tips, some insights, and then they just walk away blabbering them out and gossiping, they will not get anything out of it. Because when you talk about it, then it's a sales pitch. You're supposed to keep it to yourself. Okay? If you start bragging about it and trying to make profits out of it, your progress will stop. Okay, and you probably will lose them very quickly too. Whatever benefits you gain, you lose them quickly too. Okay? Yeah. Because they're contradictory in nature. Okay? It's not meant to be commercialized. It's not meant for you to become more famous and make money of it, unfortunately. Okay? It's meant for you to be able to quietly help others, like I'm proposing we do now for the next 2 weeks, with the skills you gain. Okay? So that is the chance for you to see what good you can do. All right? Furthermore, the Chinese seems to be enamored with time passes so fast. Okay? And to me, I don't like that kind of thinking. I disagree with that. Okay? Chan meditation, is not about that. To me, Chan meditation is a struggle. You're supposed to struggle. You're not supposed to sit there and time passes by so quickly and so pleasant. That is too slow for me. Okay? When you struggle, Chan meditation, from the way that I was trained, Chan meditation is a struggle, but you don't quit. You keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting until you're so exhausted, you still keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And naturally, something happens that you don't have to worry about. That's our U.S. Wei Yang Chan training, not Chinese. Chinese talk about, oh, time passes by so fast. That's Chinese. This is United States of America. We do it different. We fight, we fight, we fight. Okay? And then, because of you keep on fighting, you will experience things that the other Chinese people who your gains will be far greater than the Chinese style. That's why I'm teaching it. Okay? Zhu Mountain, yes.
So Seungju, Yip Mei Sun asks, what is the difference between being greedy and seeking?
It's not much difference. The difference is in a couple of things. The difference is in the person who is greedy. And number two, the purpose of the greed. When my master is greedy, it's a good greed. When you're greedy, it tends to be not good. Okay? You, the person who asked the question, when you're greedy, is usually it's not a good thing. Okay? Number two, the purpose. If I teach you to not be afraid and go out on a limb and struggle, where is the greed in there? My goal, when I ask you, your goal is to keep on struggling. Where is the greed in there? Whether the Chinese teach them, their children, their disciples, you keep on practicing and eventually you enter, this state where time passes by so quickly and you feel so good. That's greed. Okay? I'm not teaching you that. I'm teaching you just struggle. Never mind whatever you're going to get. Where's the greed in there? You tell me. That's the difference between us and the Chinese. Huh? You have a problem, huh, you disciple of the Chinese people? Huh? You understand that? I agree with you. If your purpose is if your purpose is to get there as the Chinese, so the time passes by and you get all the responses, I snicker. I said, that's too small for you. I'd rather you struggle. Forget about the gains. Forget about responses. Just struggle and don't quit. Just do that. And you find out for yourself. Like my disciples have found out themselves. They haven't run away yet. Some losers did, by the way. They're scared. They talk. They can't do. So they have to run away eventually. So that's a difference, okay? A difference in the person. When you see a person, as Master YongHua saying that I had this goal to make Mahayana become available to the West, that's greed. Yes? But that's good greed. If you come to the temple and you come to and receive this training, yes, you're greedy for advancement, for improvement. but that's good greed. So that's why I temper your greed at your level by asking you to do things and not think about benefits anymore. And if you keep on struggling and not quitting, you're very hard-pressed to find greed. But that's when you get much bigger results, much bigger responses than the Chinese can with their style of practice. All right? So that's a difference in the person who is seeking greed. Yes, people who have greed, they're greedy clearly, like Master Hsien-Hua is greedy clearly, but for him, it's not greed. Number two is the purpose. You are not him. The purpose is for your purpose is for you, is to become a better person, acquire some real skills that for the purpose of contributing more to your community, to society, then it's a good greed. It's worth pursuing. Compared to, other, a lot more self-centric, egocentric goals. Okay? So if you're not enlightened yet, you have to be careful about the kinds of greed you're engaging in. If your greed is self-serving, it's not a good greed. If your greed is primarily to help others, then it's a good greed. That's all. YouTube question.
Vicky asks, is the 42 part of the Wei Yang training?
No. 42, hands and eyes are not part of the original Wei Yang training. Okay? Wei Yang training is a set of training techniques that Master Wei Shan and Master Yang Shan pioneered. Okay? And they discovered those trainings themselves. And they taught their disciples and got the results, got proven results. And over time, as more people practice Chan, their potential are lower, and therefore the other schools have a chance to differentiate themselves from Wei Yang. They say, Wei Yang, you're the Wei Yang, most of you will not get responses. But if you do it my style, that's my Chinese style, you get responses, like Linji and so forth. Those are, I don't know about the other schools because I haven't had the time to look into them yet. But I know Linji is lower than Wei Yang because I look at Master Linji's teachings. They're quite much lower than Wei Yang. So because of that, they have a wider audience. They have a wider following than Wei Yang. So that's why these lineages developed over the years. Is because over time is because Wei Yang is way too advanced. Okay, and advanced techniques like that, they need to have the proper recipients so that that knowledge, that training knowledge, doesn't get lost through generations. And it did get lost through generation. That's why Wei Yang lineage, that training got lost. So that's why Wei Yang folded into Linji historically, and then was revived by Master Xu Yun, and then Master Hsien-Hua is actually the true Wei Yang knowledge. Okay, so actually, in my opinion, Master Xu Yun basically is an expedient for him to revive the Wei Yang, so that he can recognize Master YongHua, okay, to certify that he's a Wei Yang patriarch. But actually, the training, it didn't come from Master Xu. It came from somewhere else, okay. So traditionally, we didn't need the 42 hands and eyes. That's a good question, by the way. So why do we transmit the 42 hands and eyes to you? The Wei Yang patriarchs do not need the 42 hands and eyes to do their work. Master Wei Shan didn't need the 42 hands and eyes. Master Yang Shan didn't need the 42 hands and eyes, trust me. They don't have to. They didn't have to. But our era, okay, is different. We need the 42 hands and eyes to do our work, okay, for training purposes, to train you and help you do your work. Because for you to reach the level of Master Wei Shan and Yang Shan, Master YongHua is too difficult, okay. So that's an expedient, if you will. If we don't teach you 42 hands and eyes, then we know different than the Linji. Linji doesn't have 42 hands and eyes. I don't know it makes sense to you. It's an expedient for us. That's we're getting more tools that we can use in this Dharmic ending age. Okay, and actually it's helpful in your training as well. Okay. It's very helpful so far. Jewel Mountain.
Jewel Mountain asks, does Wei Yang disciples require stronger faith than Linji students?
Wei Yang disciples will eventually develop much stronger faith in Linji disciples. Much stronger. But it's a whole spectrum. You have Wei Yang low level, all the way past Hinayana level, past Linji level, all the way up. Wei Yang is all inclusive. We don't discriminate. Okay? It's like what's great about this country. It's the same spirit of this country, by the way. In what way? In this way. If you go, I will give this analogy to you. I grew up in Vietnam, went to French high school, okay? So I know the educational system there, where you are screened out very quickly, whether you have the potential or not, okay? So unless you can pass the grades, you get pushed to lower and less demanding disciplines, if you will. Eventually, you go into the blue-collar type of professions very quickly. Okay? So even at an early age, even when you're young, and if you don't pass the grade, you cannot pass the grade, you push gradually already. Okay? So it's very, the filtering process is very brutal. Every single step of the way, you need to perform. You need to cram. If you don't meet the criteria, and when you're younger, what you do, you cram first. You can't cram, you'll be weeded out. Okay? This country is different. They have to do it that way because the resources are limited. They cannot produce 10, 100 leaders in France. They cannot have 100 presidents. Okay, you only have one. And then some ministers, that's all they have room for. So they need to weed them out very quickly. In our country, should I go into politics again? In our country, presidents don't matter at all. Yeah. You understand? Our country, in the US, presidents don't matter. They can be total losers. Okay? To be polite. Okay? This is our system. We are a lot less brutal about weeding people out. Okay? So I know people in my environment, in particular, I know in my families, okay? In Vietnam, we went to a French high school, and we didn't do well. Not at all. We're just barely passing the grades. A C, if you will. Every year, just C. And every now and then, you shine like you are number one in philosophy, number one in math, but on average, you're a loser. Okay? C. Okay? But so we barely made it. I barely made it. The final examination, my grade was C, basically. Okay, assez bien, meaning C, average. So for me to go to French high school, French universities, no chance. Okay, not good enough. You need to have at least, an A to get to great schools. Okay. So, and then I went to, a B university, and then went to one of the top business schools in the country. Okay? My point being that for me personally and for my younger brothers, he went to Berkeley, which is far better than my schools, and he did fantastic things. My point being that in this country, we have room to nurture late bloomers. Whereas the other countries, like Korea, like Vietnam, like France, they cannot afford to do that. They weed you out very quickly. Okay? So you are pushed, you channeled into this career profession that will limit your potential. In this country, we don't limit your potential. We will patiently wait for, in Buddhism, put in Buddhist terms, for conditions to ripen. You have the potential, but conditions not ripen, are not right yet. Therefore, we have to wait. And that's Wei Yang, by the way. So today, in Wei Yang, you may be lower than the more senior person. In Wei Yang, when conditions ripen, you can surpass the other people very easily. That's Wei Yang. There's no need to weed people out. Only get rid of losers, because they poison the system. Otherwise, we patiently wait. Okay? Everyone has a fair chance. We don't say that your level is too low right now. I'm going to ignore you. No, we pay the same exact attention. We invest in you. Okay? Everyone gets invested. It's up to you to decide what to do with your life. I don't tell you what to do. Okay? The Wei Yang training is that flexible. more so than Linji. And that's what Master Shua brought to this country, because he went through the Wei Yang training himself. YouTube has a question.
Mary Jo asks, is Wei Yang training the highest form of wisdom training that is available in this world and maybe other worlds too?
I don't know about the other worlds, but I don't know about this world either. I just know from what we have available from a Chinese that I learned so far. Hopefully, I hope I have more time to learn about the other schools, okay? But I doubt that their level is as advanced as our most advanced Wei Yang training. I doubt it, seriously. That's why I'm in no hurry to look at the other schools, Yunmen and so forth, and Caotung and so forth. They disappeared themselves. Some of them disappeared themselves. So I would be more interested in learning about the schools that disappeared, okay, than the schools that are still around, okay, besides Wei Yang. So I don't know about this world even, but all I know is that what I've seen so far, Wei Yang is by far the most advanced. And it's not based on affiliation, it's based on what those patriarchs taught, what Master Wei Shan taught, what Master Yang Shan taught, compared to what Master YongHua taught, compared to what Master Linji taught, what Master Xu Yun taught. So I rank them. Master Huineng taught. I rank them all. And so far, Wei Yang ranks extremely high. That's all I know. I only can give you what I know. YouTube question.
Kenny KK asks, is the 42 hands and eyes part of the secret school Buddhism?
Yes. Agreed.
You only talk about Master Yangshan and Master Wei Shan. You don't talk about the other patriarchs as much. Is there a reason why? Or
because I don't know them. Back then, their teachings were not that well recorded for some reason. So it's very sparingly. And so that's all I know so far. And so what I learned so far from listening, from reading their teachings, compared to Master Bai Chang, who is Bai Chang is a teacher of Master Wei Shan. Okay, I compare that, and I compare that with, as you all know, with the sixth patriarch teaching as well. So we have enough comparisons to see that they're quite advanced. Okay, and with that alone, when you look at the Master Huineng, sixth patriarch teaching compared to Bai Chang, compared to Wei Shan and Yang Shan and so forth, you know, that's way beyond what we can achieve in this lifetime already. Okay, to me, that's good enough for me to try to reach those levels. It's reaching for the unreachable star, if you will. So that's enough for me to get going. And I'm very simple-minded. If one day, if I ever can reach their levels, then I say, what's next? Who's higher? Because right now, that's high enough for me to encourage me, to motivate me to keep going. Just like you look around here. Look around, you see that plenty of people are far better than you. Okay? That should motivate you to try to surpass those people first. Then we talk. Okay? So that's the same with me. I look at my master and say, "Oh, I'm too high. I'm not going to touch him." But I look at his disciple and say, "I will beat you." So, and then you keep going. You keep going. That's all. Very practical. Go ahead, Cube.
Master Huinan and Ma Zu, they're not equal to Wei Yang, right? They're the four barrels of Wei Yang. And how do you compare that with Wei Yang? And maybe, so technically it's not really right that Wei Yang is the highest form if Master Huinan's higher.
Good question. It's so Chinese too. God, you Chinese people are something else. Of course, Master Huineng is not Wei Yang. Master Huineng gave birth to Wei Yang. Okay? Of course he's not Wei Yang. He's way beyond Wei Yang. I even told you already. There's no more doubt in my mind after looking at Bai Chang and Wei Shan and Yang Shan and and Master Huineng disciples, Xing Su and Shen Hui and what is it? Who else? The 7 patriarchs. Okay, it's no doubt in my mind that Master Huineng is way beyond them. He's a Buddha. So clearly he's beyond Wei Yang. But that's also part of Wei Yang. Wei Yang is not limited to Yang Shan or Wei Shan. We can surpass Wei Shan's Yang Shan so much better. It's still Wei Yang. Wei Yang doesn't say that I'm on top of the pyramid. Wei Yang actually encourages you to surpass them, which is my master never did for these people. I'm just recently taught you should try to surpass all of us. That's Wei Yang spirit. Okay? Sorry, irreverent, but it's Wei Yang. The Chinese are too polite. They don't say, and I was like that, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. Wei Yang, I do believe in my heart, there's no limitations. You can surpass your teachers. Wei Yang training is such a way that you can surpass your teachers. And you should set a goal to do that. You too.
Ru Shu asks, in case it is difficult to go to the temple for reasons such as work and my young kids, how can I do my best at home to make progress in cultivation during the Chanqi?
Well, that's called obstructions. You try your best with what you have. If you have obligations, you have to fulfill your obligations. You can't be, that's part of being smart. You try the best that you can, okay? If conditions are not ripe yet, you wait patiently, okay? It means that you need to accrue more blessings. Right? Keep accruing blessings, and then you save those blessings. And then someday, when there's an opportunity, then you can do it. Cultivation is being flexible. You can't force the issue. Okay? So nurture that desire to improve. be a better person. And what you do right now is do the best you can. And one thing that will never change, whether you're at home or at the temple, you have to increase your blessings more and more and more and more. Don't ever assume that you have enough. It's never enough. Don't assume, oh, I gave so much already, I contributed so much already, so more than anyone else, more than the other person, than the other person. Yes, you did. But stop looking at others, the others. Look at yourself. Contribute more so that you can get even further. Whoever has more blessings will go further. So blessings is something that we all need, that I need as much as you do. For me, to surpass my teacher and reach Master Yang Shan's level or Wei Shan's level, I need a lot more blessings. Why do you think I'm doing this? I'm accruing blessings myself. I'm taking losses as well. We're all in the same boat. Okay? We all need to accrue even a lot more blessings. And that's part of the fun. All right. Any final comments? Questions? Okay. I think the next, let me see. Okay, we can continue next week. Thank you, everyone.